All right, you should have heard that notice, and now we are recording. Lenny, take it away.
Thanks, Audrey. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you on the screen. This meeting is going to be recorded so that we can share it out to you later if you could not make it in real time. Thanks for coming to the 48th Ward 2024 year in review. My name is Lenny Manaa-Hoppenworth. I'm the Alderwoman of the 48th Ward, which includes Edgewater and parts of Uptown. And we're going to just get started. Next slide, please. So the 48th Ward is one of the most diverse wards across race and class, ethnicity, and we always start our meetings with our values and community agreements, which you'll see here on this slide. So on the left side are our values that we try to live every day as we provide public service to you. And then on the right side are community agreements, and they are grounded in respect for yourself and for your neighbors, so that we can have great conversations, whether it's here today or in person in our office. And we do have these um, bi-monthly ward nights. That's on the 1st and the 15th. So I hope that you will join us on one of those other days in the future. Next slide. Here's our agenda for tonight. And you'll also see a photo of the team on Bryn Mawr in front of the Red Twist Theater. And I'm excited to have you hear from them, some of them later today in this presentation. But we went over some introductions and housekeeping, our values and agreements. And we are going to spend time on this presentation. It's going to be about 40 minutes or so, and then the remainder of the time is going to be Q&A. Next slide, please. So the next two slides are about City Hall, and it reflects what I'm proud of. The ordinances that I've passed, 64, resolutions, 41, and 6 orders. And this is just a sampling of what we did work on in the last year. Um, I'm really proud to be on 8 different committees to work on all the issues that are important to us in the 48th Ward, including sustainability, climate action, housing, affordable housing, especially protecting our sanctuary city status, and also lifting up the folks in the 48th Ward who've worked so hard over the years to make it into what it is today. And we'll talk about some of those tributes later on, but I do want to shout out on this slide. It includes our former Alderwoman, Mary Ann Smith, because we were very, very sad to have lost her this past year, but we continue to hold up her legacy by working on the things that were important to her, including safe streets in the 48th Ward. Next slide. This slide reflects the items in the budget that we passed last December. We passed it to work on all the things that are listed on here. Many of you reached out to me letting me know that property tax increases were out. And we did pass a budget that protected jobs and avoided layoffs, protected our vital city services, and we did it all with no property tax increase. What I am excited about, or what I look forward to in the next year, is working on the budget reform, um, the the um, the budget reform that we need to actually implement through our management ordinance, which states that we have to start on the budget much earlier than we did in this past year, and get information from our city departments so that we can have better engagement, not only amongst ourselves in the council, but also with you, because After all, it's your dollars, and we want you to be involved in the way that we spend the money. So on the slide, we're really proud to protect youth employment, our homelessness services, and also we're also glad to know that the pilot for Plow the Sidewalks was also included in this budget. One of the things that was very important to me is making sure that we had the consent decree CPD positions put back in place, and that we also expanded our work to provide alternatives to policing in times of mental crisis, and that includes our CARES team. Next slide, please. These next two slides reflect on our work on public safety in the 48th Ward, so Safe 48th Health and Safety Plan. And overall, we are really proud of the coordination that we have done across agencies, including not only with CPD, but also with Department of Family Services and Supports, the Chicago Commission on Human Relations, and also digging into the root causes of poverty, making sure that we're allowing opportunities for youth to get jobs, and also working with our principals in our public schools, of which we have 5 of them in the ward, along with other private schools. Next slide, please. This is a very text-heavy slide, but we are, again, very proud of the work that we have done with my team and with our 2 commanders in the 20th district, which is south of Thorndale, and the 24th district, which is north of Thorndale, including securing foot patrols in our business corridors. And we're working on making sure that those are permanent positions, like the one that is on Argyle now. We've had, unfortunately, an uptick in violent crime in the 48th Ward, whereas the whole of the city has seen a decrease. And so we are addressing that because we have certain hotspots that we need to manage, and we can talk about that more during the Q&A. But again, we're working very hard with our commanders to make sure that we're not in the same position next year. Unfortunately, a lot of those incidents included or had to do with our youth. And so we're working very closely with our public schools, violence interrupters, with our park districts, including at the Broadway Armory, and in our own office, we started a youth council, which we can talk about more later. In addition to that, I'm proud in this budget that we passed a budget that includes more resources for those who are victims of domestic and gender-based violence. Next slide, please. Okay, then the next couple slides are going to relate to the development that's happening in the ward. We're very proud of our zoning advisory committee. It's the first time that the 48th Ward has had a committee like this since the days of Alderwoman Mary Ann Smith. And we were really proud that Mary Ann Smith participated in those zoning advisory council meetings as a member of the council. So this first one has been in the works for some time now, but we're very excited to let you know that groundbreaking is expected to happen very soon, and hopefully in 2025. This is going to be right next to the Broadway Armory Park and Broadway. This is going to be 90 units of 100% affordable apartments. And the developer is Bickerdike, who has done many developments across the city. These will be 18 will be fully accessible, ADA accessible homes. They will all be electric. And this is something that when it was presented to the community, we're very excited about. So thank you. Thank you for your engagement to bring more affordability into the ward. Next slide, please. These are just 3 examples of zoning change requests that we've had. The first one were very excited about. I personally have passed this building too many times and looked into the windows and wondered what was happening with it. But this developer is fantastic. We're going to have 17 accessible homes added to the first floor. 5 of them are going to be affordable throughout the building, and all of them are going to be fully electric. There are others that are going to be built on Sheridan, 6 affordable homes on Sheridan and 4 affordable homes on 5830 North Broadway. And these are much needed in the ward, and we're excited to bring more of it, especially on Broadway and all along transit, which includes our Red Line. We'll talk about that more later in the presentation. Next slide, please. These are 2 ongoing development projects that we have. One of them is Granville to address the traffic safety issues. Granville is actually a street, but it has been functioning as a street that is as busy as Wilson. It should not have that many cars on Granville. So the reason why it has been flagged by CDOT is because of the high number of traffic crashes that have happened along between Kedzie and Sheridan on Granville. And so we had a community meeting in October. There is still feedback that's being collected, and you could come to our website to get that link if you haven't already. Um, if you were not able to join, or if you've not been able to join us at any of these meetings on Zoom or in our office, please use that link to give your feedback about that project. The other one that we're excited about is connecting communities on Broadway, and we're working with Department of Planning and Development. This is a project that spans from Devon to Montrose on Broadway across 3 wards, the 48th, the 46th, Alderwoman Angela Clay, and Alderman Matt Martin in the 47th. We had 2 community open houses at Farama and in October and December. And this also is another opportunity for you to give feedback on the project. You can come to our website, and we can talk about this later in the Q&A if you have any questions on that. Next slide, please. So overall, I'm just very grateful that you're here and that you're interested in learning about what we have done in 2024 and also looking ahead to 2025. And at this time, I want to pass it off to my Chief of Staff, Nicole Granicki, who will continue on with the presentation, and I'll meet up with you later. Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, Alderwoman, and hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight or virtually after. My name is Nicole Granicki, and I'm the Chief of Staff in the 48th Ward office. Next slide, Audrey. Thank you. My role in part is to manage the team. So before I start, I want to give a big shout out to our hardworking 48th Ward staff who you'll see here, of course, under the leadership of our fearless alderwoman, Lenny Manaa-Hoppenworth. And I do just want to acknowledge and shout out our team who are the ones picking up the phone when you call, who you'll see out at the events, and who really make the magic happen in the office. That's Angel, Audrey, Connor, Kelly, Genesis, and Conrad. Next slide. Last year, I had the honor and privilege of being the point person in our office for the city's new arrivals mission. During this mission, Chicago welcomed and supported 52,000 new arrivals, including hundreds here in the 48th Ward. The mission formally wrapped up last month, and I want to take the opportunity to give a big thank you to all of you who welcomed our new neighbors to Edgewater and to Uptown. Together, we worked on and pulled off over 30 different community initiatives to welcome our new neighbors. That was including drives for essential items, visa support, housing, English courses, employment readiness, and a lot more. So thank you all for everything that you did during the New Arrivals mission. As y'all know, we, like others in Chicago, were voluntold that our Park District facility was going to be converted into a new arrivals shelter. winter, and it was from August through April. The Armory now is back in the hands of the Chicago Park District, and it's better than ever. This spring, we had a number of facility improvements that were a long time coming, things like indoor tuck pointing that we were able to get done after kind of many years of being on the to-do list. So the space looks fabulous. If you haven't been back in there recently, check it out. Our Jackalope Theater, which we love, has returned to the Armory. We have a new park supervisor, Misty, who is bringing in new partnerships, who's helping activate our youth center, who we collaborated with on a really successful youth fall event, and who's helping to pull off the Edgewater Indoor Market for the first time this winter. So there's lots of great things going on at the Broadway Armory Park. Check it out. Next slide. This year, we had the honor of uh, really celebrating a number of our 48th Ward community leaders. Y'all might know that every alderperson gets 2 honorary street signs every year. So we were able to use that opportunity and also others to really honor the leaders in our community. The photo here is family and friends of Alderperson Marianne Smith, who we got to know, a lot of us, this last year as she was serving on our zoning advisory council. And I'm really grateful that I did have a chance to get to know her and work with her. It was a really special event outside her home where we dedicated the 5400 block of Wayne in her honor. I also want to shout out all of these folks on this list are incredible, and we could talk all day about them. But I just want to shout out one more, the Interfaith Park Initiative. I see Sandy's on the call. That was really spearheaded by her. So amazing work, Sandy, and everybody involved in the Interfaith Park dedication, which is honoring Rabbi Schulman, who was an incredible community leader who brought people together in the 48th Ward. Next slide. This last year, we did something really exciting in the 48th Ward for the very first time, which we call participatory budgeting. So each ward gets $1.5 million in infrastructure funds that we get to allocate to how the community, what the community needs. So for the very first time, you all got to vote on which projects we funded with that money. So we had a bunch of workshops where we workshopped different ideas. We turned those into viable projects. We put them on a ballot, and we had 817 of y'all vote on the winning projects. So you can see the list here. It's a lot of great park space and play space, and also great pedestrian safety projects as well. So we're looking forward to doing this again in 2025, and the workshops are underway. We call them the PB workshops. We've had 2 of them so far. There's going to be more coming up, so stay tuned to our newsletter for those. And we're going to actually be voting on 2025 participatory budgeting in March. So stay tuned. We're hoping we can beat 817 votes, but we are thrilled with that number this year. Next slide. So a lot of ideas came out of these participatory budgeting sessions that we were able to secure funding for outside of that $1.5 million that we were allocated. So one that's really particularly exciting was the Margate Park Trail resurfacing. This was over $300,000 of value. It's the picture in the bottom right there where we had all the park trails resurfaced, and that did not need to come out of our $1.5 million. We got that funded out of the Park District budget, which was fantastic. We also were able to get the drainage issue at the dog-friendly area over at Bryn Mawr and the lake taken care of. We worked on the Berwyn Greenway with the Complete Streets team. So there's been a lot of amazing work going on. We actually have a whole hour-and-a-half long presentation just on infrastructure that we did a couple months ago. And we're really excited about all the amazing work going on in the ward. Next slide, please. So y'all might know by now that the Alderwoman has been a small business owner in the 48th Ward for over 20 years. So small business support is something that is near and dear to her. And our office is on Bryn Mawr because she wanted to have us all keeping Bryn Mawr top of mind, keeping support for our small businesses and our commercial corridors top of mind in everything that we do. We're excited to share that we issued 105 new business licenses over the last year. We established the Bryn Mawr Alliance, which is focusing on revitalizing the Bryn Mawr corridor that's been really struggling with the red line construction. And we're going to have some really exciting announcements soon about vacancies that are being filled that we're asked about all the time on Bryn Mawr. So stay tuned for that. We also highlight small businesses in our small business spotlight. And so if you are a small business owner in the ward or have a favorite business that you would like us to spotlight, please submit them in our newsletter and then we'll get them in our small business spotlight. We've also done safety walks around our small businesses and had roundtables too. So this is a big, big part of what we're doing both in City Hall and here in the ward. Next slide, please. So the Red Line project, I'm excited to share maybe for the first time with some of you that our new stations that are going to be fully ADA accessible are going to be open in summer 2025. I have been told I can say that out loud now. So the project was 4 years. The end of 2025 is the end of 4 years. Those stations should be open this summer. We are so thrilled. We will keep you all posted. We're going to celebrate big time ribbon cuttings to come. Here's a few photos. And we're not out of it yet. Construction's still ongoing. So please support, your small businesses along this project. And if you would like alerts on the construction that's going on right next to your home or on your commute, there's a link there at the bottom where you can sign up for those RPM alerts that are just relevant to you. Next slide. Part of the Red Line project is this under L activation is what we're calling it, where we're going to be opening up 1 mile of new space under the tracks. And we are going to activate that space with a lot of fun community elements and programming. So there have been a number of sessions where folks were able to give their feedback on what they would like to see under the L. And we're at this point waiting for site design, the design team that's working on this to come back with their final recommendations. That's going to happen this winter. So in the next month or two is what I'm told. So stay tuned in our newsletter for that. And we're excited to see what they've come up with and how they've incorporated all of your feedback into these great projects. Next slide. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Angel.
Thank you, Nicole and Alderwoman and the team, and thank you for everybody for joining us today. Angel Rubina Varijo, I'm the Director of Neighborhood Services, and then Connor Goldenheart is here as well. Connor, if you want to say hello.
Hello, everyone. Go on.
So some statistics of how we have served you this year. 15,646 311 requests were closed in 2024 compared to 15,084 in 2023. That's a 3.7% increase. And I think it's an important number to highlight because it goes to speak to the engagement with our office and how we've been trying to improve our systems of outreach and communication so people can report things. And using 311 helps us hold our city service partners accountable whenever things don't get done. So we truly appreciate the contribution of the neighbors who played a role in this increase. And this also includes 1,643 completed requests for graffiti removal. And then there was a 21% increase in resolved requests from 2022 to 2024, which is a proud number that we're happy to showcase because we're closing more through and ones, we're seeing them through, we're holding them accountable, we're keeping track, and we're monitoring. On top of that, We've modernized our war technology via Zoom and Airtable. We've solved over 1,800 service requests, closed in our Airtable project management system in 2024, and we have no backlog, which goes into our next thing, which not having a backlog is really helpful because that means we're able to respond to you within 2 business days. All things considered in terms of the comms. And then we also had a 96% phone pickup rate, which was a 9% increase from 2023. We worked really hard to track this data. We reported it out every time at our staff meetings to ensure that we're meeting a high phone pickup rate because that means we can service you more, talk to you directly, and walk you through your issues. Next slide, please. Support for our unhoused neighbors. So I know that this is a topic that a lot of neighbors have been calling about. And we work closely with DFSS and many other community partners like the Night Ministry, Salvation Army, Red Cross, many organizations that assist in the servicing of our unhoused neighbors. So since 2021, DFSS has successfully housed a total of 106 households through accelerated moving events. Accelerated moving events is what it sounds like. It's a program where DFSS comes and registers you, and then you get placed into housing through all Chicago. You get an apartment, you get keys, and you get support while that time you're transitioning from being unhoused to housed. So through that program, 106 households were housed, and then two of those AMEs were held in 2023. And then our office advocated to secure an accelerated moving event for this month. Right now, we're registering people, and we're hoping that as many people can register as possible to get housing. We also do daily outreach visits at the Meadows, and we do spot checks. So from September to December, DFS has completed 44 comprehensive outreach visits to the lakefront sites to connect individuals to resources and housing. And then finally, our office works with DFSS and the Park District to organize monthly cleanups, on top of needed emergency cleanups that many of you have reported. Thank you very much. We work closely with the Park District and the streets and sanitation crews to make sure that we can get out there as quickly as possible while respecting the rights of the unhoused neighbors and everybody in the surrounding area. Next slide, please. So a lot of people have asked, what can I do to help in the immediate, right? There's many resources that one can gather about unhoused, shelters and what you can do for an unhoused individual. One of the things that we encourage neighbors to do is to report new tents and cleanups that are needed. So if you see a new tent or you observe abandoned items or large bulks of trash or excess debris, please email it to our general inbox at info@the48thward.org to report it. We will send a HOP team out there, homeless outreach prevention team out there to offer social services, survey the area, and evaluate what services are needed on site, whether that's cleanup or more services. What you can do if you want to ask for help or you want to know where to go in terms of how to refer someone, you could direct them to 211 Metro Chicago, which will put you through a screening process, as well as the Homeless Prevention Contact Center. So if you ever, encounter someone who needs housing, you could call 311 and you could specifically ask for short-term assistance. And then the call center staff will then conduct an intake and then refer the caller to prevention agencies that could help within 48 to 72 hours, depending on people's circumstances. So those are some of the things that you can do as a neighbor to help out in the immediate. If you want more robust resources, you could always reach out to us and then we're happy to send you those resources out. Next slide, please. The Youth Advisory Council is a very proud initiative of our office. We thought it was really important given everything that has been going on with the violence that has been occurring. Unfortunately, it has been impacting our youth the most that go to school every day, that have to walk the paths from the Red Line to Sen or whatever school you're going to within the ward. Our students deserve to be safe. And on top of that, our students deserve to be heard. So with that said, we started a Youth Advisory Council and we met 4 times in 2024. We started with 3 members and we went up to 8. I don't know if you all recall, but we had a fall jam in November. It was family centered, but we definitely wanted to attract youth, which we did. And we were only allowed to give out free CTA cards to youth that came to the fall jam or families that showed up. So we gave out over 160 plus CTA cards. So that means over 150, children came to our fall jam, got connected to resources, were able to enjoy the services that the city can provide, and have a time in community. I think that's very important. Another important thing that we did was allocating $50,000 for an infrastructure project of the Youth Advisory Council's choosing. Right now, they have shown a lot of interest in pedestrian safety. So building pedestrian safety infrastructure in major intersections in the ward has been something that our youth in the ward has communicated out to us. And, our job as staff is to, get that feedback and then give it to the alderwoman and then go from there. And so we decided that allocating, a certain amount for youth to engage and coordinate and plan, I think is a great way for youth to get their voice heard. If you know anybody that is wanting to get involved, please email me. We're actively activating a Broadway Armory Teen Center that is completely free and open to youth. Nobody uses it, unfortunately. There's not a lot of traffic. So our last meeting, which was in November, we held the meeting at the Broadway Armory Teen Center, and we have a lot of exciting plans for that space. So if you know of any young person between the ages of 14 to 22, have them reach out to me at Angel at the 48thward.org. Next slide. And with that, I'll pass it on to Connor, who has led a lot of the charge on our community events, organizing our volunteers, and just overall doing a good job answering questions to a constituent. So thank you, Connor, for your work, and I'll pass it on to you now.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out here. I'm Connor, the neighborhood service manager, as Angel said, and people before. So yeah, once again, thanks for coming out. I recognize not a lot of the names from caller ID or emails or previous meetings, but yeah, let's go through some of some of these slides. So I was able to work with all the volunteers this year, and that means going to the events. So I was able to meet so many new people. It was fantastic. Brought a lot of people into the ward office and to events such as the Argyle Night Market, different farmers markets as well. We partnered with a lot of businesses and community organizations to celebrate the different cultures at Argyle, such as the food, art, and music. We were able to just welcome a lot of people who normally wouldn't get involved that in these events, or they usually are just walking through, and now they have an active participation. So it was a lot of fun. We also did these shred and recycling initiatives. And at those events, you could bring in electronics that you could recycle, prescriptions, and paper products that you just need to dispose of. And it was, there were sheriff's department members there who were overseeing the prescriptions. So it was all taken care of in a responsible way. But we're trying to push for more of those in the new year, and we're looking for more locations to host these at. If you wouldn't mind switching to the next slide. Also doing a lot of betterment and empowerment events, like the vaccine clinics. We also had an older adults resource fair, so we want to push for that in the new year as well. We had so many different people who walked through there, and so many different organizations who wanted to get involved. So in April, we're going to do another older adults resource fair, and we just want to just be a positive place for if you need a resource and you're not sure where to reach out to. We're going to be there, and we're going to hopefully liaison and get you to the right person. If you don't mind going to the next one. Yeah, more with the cultural events. We were able to just host a lot on Argyle. The next one that's coming up is the Lunar New Year Parade that's in February. that was a great parade. If you're in the neighborhood, I actually live on Argyle, so I was able to just walk over and participate in it. We are always at these events, and we also bring intake folders or intake forms. So anytime you have a question or you want to actually do a constituent or get constituent services provided at one of these events, you can come up to us. Our volunteers or interns should have the forms on it, or I will have it. And yeah, we'll fill out a form right there, find out the information, and get back to you. CDK event, that was a huge thing so people could get IDs. But now you can also just register online. They're going to do a lot more events throughout the city, so we don't have to host our own. You can just go to the City Key website and figure that out. You can go to the next slide, please. And this is just more staying connected and providing feedback. As much feedback as possible. Either way it is. I've certainly gotten both. But yeah, at these events, please bring it up. If there's something you have a question about, or if you just need help with city service, at all these events, I've had the intake forms with me, or Abigail Cavett, who was our intern. She was at a ton of these events. She was doing it, and also Mark Narado. So if you'd like to get involved, please reach out on our website. You can sign up to be a volunteer. Reach out to me as well, or Angel, and Angel will get you. Just reach out to me. He'll get you over to me either way. But yeah, we appreciate you coming to these events and supporting the neighborhood. That's why I want to be connected. I live on Argyle and I feel like a part of the neighborhood. So when we're there, please come up and say hi. But thanks for coming out tonight. I think that's it.
Okay, hi, I'm Audrey. I'm the communications manager for our office, and I am one of the two-member communications team. The other one is Kelly. She's our web developer and special projects coordinator, and she's not here tonight, but I will be covering some of her info as well. So first things first, the website has gone through some great changes and improvements in 2024. We're kind of just always adding new and better info to this site. So some of the newest stuff is some additional health and safety resources, a lot more information for you to be able to like find and get services yourself without necessarily having to contact our office. Though we are always here to help. We just want information to be available to you. You can see lots of maps on our website. We've got the liquor moratoriums on there, but there's also things like block clubs, parks, libraries, chambers of commerce, things like that. You can find on the map on our website. All of the participatory budgeting information you need is up there on the development section. And then, yeah, there's this list at the bottom for you can read through. And again, we'll be sharing this presentation later. So if you want to reference this slide, then you can. But lots of stuff to see on our website, and it's growing and changing all the time. So we definitely encourage you to check that out. If you haven't visited our website in a little bit, there's some new info there. And if you have any questions or concerns about our site, you can contact that email address right at the bottom, web@the48thward.org. Yeah, drop us a line if you notice any problems or anything like that. Another branch of the communications world in our office is the newsletter. I hope that everybody here is already subscribed. I bet that that's how a lot of people heard about this meeting. So we're happy about that, but we definitely always want more subscribers. So, if you're not signed up, go sign up. We've got the link there on the slide. And, encourage your friends neighbors to sign up as well, because we share a lot of great info in our newsletter and we want to make sure that reaches as many folks as possible. So last I checked, which was about January 7th of this year, we were at just over 7,000 subscribers, almost at 7,100, which is up 75% from the same time 2020, end of 2023, beginning of 2024. So that's a huge jump, which we're really excited about. But again, that's not 7,000 is a lot less than the population of the ward. So share this around. If you get our newsletter and you like it, encourage, the people who live around you to sign up so that as many people get access to these resources as possible. And I wanted to share a reminder about the kinds of things you can always find in our newsletter. Every week that we share a newsletter, you'll find health and safety information, you'll find development information, you'll find construction updates, and you'll find neighborhood services, announcements, and resources. We also always include a reminder to check out our community calendar, which is where you're going to find most of your events. Government events may be shared in our newsletter, but community calendar is really a place to be to find events. And it is a community calendar. So on our website, under newsletter or under calendar, there is a link to submit content to me to put on the calendar and the newsletter. And so that's a good way to get things over to me if there's something you want your neighbors to know. So definitely do that. Check that out on our site. And yeah, on this slide is just a couple of screenshots or photos of things that were in the newsletter this year that we were really proud of. We did the Halloween decoration contest was a lot of fun. We'll probably do that again next year. And then we did a lot of these, Filipino American History Month, a lot of monthly observations, things like that, that we wanted to share with all of you. So definitely check out our newsletter if you haven't already. We're really proud of it. And then social media as well. These days, you can find us on social media, mostly on Facebook and Instagram. We share meeting recordings like this one will be shared on YouTube, so you can find us there as well. And yeah, we like being there and communicating with you there. But the source of truth for all things 48th Ward website, newsletter, that's where you're going to find the most timely and accurate information. Because that's easily searchable too. If you search something just on Google, you'll probably be directed to our website before you're directed to our socials. So that's kind of why we organize things that way. So yeah, definitely follow us on socials, but if you need info, it'll almost certainly be on our website. And then you also may have noticed that we're no longer posting on Twitter just to save our office, time and money and keep things accessible. We found all of those features to be easier to manage through Facebook and Instagram. So that's where you'll find us. And we're at the 48th Ward everywhere. And you can contact me at comms@the48thward.org if you have any questions about any of that. I'd be happy to chat with you. Okay, and so this isn't necessarily just a communications initiative, but it is my initiative this year that I'm so excited about and so proud of. We launched the 48th Ward Green Council in 2024. And we currently have more than 60 members on our Green Council specific mailing list. And you can read our mission statement here. You can read that little word cloud that I made that has the values that we kind of chatted about on our first Green Council meeting with all of the members who came. So yeah, check out information about the Green Council on our blog. Sign up if you're interested in getting involved in sustainability work in the ward. We have people working on education, working on policy, and working on community engagement. So there's lots of ways to get involved, and we're really excited to get some good work done in 2025. And then actually one thing I do want to mention, just to go back to the newsletter slide for a second that I forgot to say, is that we do share crime alerts and you can opt into those. And we encourage you to do that if you're interested in receiving that information. So if you go to this link that's on the slide, there'll be a button you can click to subscribe. Even if you're already subscribed to the newsletter, that's a good way to opt into the crime alerts if you want to receive those. If you put in your email address, it's not going to mess up your current subscription. Just click opt in and it'll opt you in. And of course, if you have any problems with that, I'm also happy to help you with that directly. So you can contact me. My contact info is on the website. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because we share a couple of those a month. And so if you're interested in receiving those, we want to make it as easy as possible for you to receive those. So that's all I've got for communications. So I will pass it back to Lenny.
Thanks, Audrey. I hope people are feeling the excitement that we do about our work in 2024. And I hope that you'll keep in touch with us because there's a lot to look forward to in 2025. And I do want to shout out to everyone on my team and those who could not be here today that are on my team, including our fantastic volunteers and our interns who keep our office running under the direction of Nicole Granicki. So thank you, team. So the next slide is going to show just a couple things that we are looking forward to. And a lot of them have to do with infrastructure, including the RPM, the red purple modernization, fully accessible red line stations, which are due to open this summer, our participatory budgeting, which is going to help us upgrade a lot of our infrastructure to keep our sidewalks and streets and alleys updated and safe. We have more gathering spaces that we're creating, including the Lise Mallory Plaza in Andersonville and under the L tracks. And there's just so much, but what I'm very, very proud of is our effort to increase the housing affordability stock in the 48th ward. We want people to stay, and so we want to protect that, but we also want to build more. We need a variety of options for all of our residents who are currently living in the 48th ward, and we want to bring more people in because more people are going to add to our tax base. We're going to add to our business corridors. We're going to add to our diverse student population. And it makes life living in the city and Edgewater and Uptown that much more enjoyable when we have more people around us. So at the end of this slide, you'll see to remind you to subscribe to the newsletter if you already haven't. As Audrey was saying, that's really the best way to get the most up-to-date information in your inbox weekly on Thursday mornings. And the next slide is going to show you all the ways that you can get involved, not only with the bi-monthly these meetings here. We've been doing them hybrid in the ward office. Today, of course, it's virtual, but we meet on the 1st and the 15th for you to ask questions or to dig into any issues that you're having in your part of the 48th ward. But we also have these councils, including what Audrey mentioned, the Green Council. Sustainability is very important to us. Our Youth Advisory Council, because we have to focus on the youth right now. We are still struggling to get out of COVID times, and our youth have been very, very much impacted. Their learning styles and just coping mechanisms, and so it's really important for us to build up spaces where we can gather our youth. Again, our ward nights on the 1st and 15th. We also are, as others have mentioned, our office is on Bryn Mawr, and we're looking forward to the revitalization of Bryn Mawr. Our very first business corridor in the history of Edgewater was on Bryn Mawr. And one of the new red line stations is going to be on Bryn Mawr too. So we're working with neighborhood businesses, building owners, and neighbors to make it better for everybody. So if you're interested in Bryn Mawr or any of these task forces, please keep in touch with us. And the next slide is going to end our presentation. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and please keep in touch. We're going to end the recording now and then open it up for Q&A for the rest of our time together. Thank you, everyone.